All right, welcome back. So continuing with the theme we just discussed with the two core principles that really came from a business-minded and organizational standpoint, we're going to take that over into a personal development paradigm. Something I've been passionate about ever since college. I was 18, 19 when I first started asking myself these questions about the purpose of life, why I'm here, why we're all here. What do we need to do? What's this world about? What's this life about? What's the purpose of everything? And those are big questions. And those questions, I believe, started being prompted by courses I was taking at school and books that I started to read from some of the great philosophers of the past, like Plato and Aristotle. And it really developed in me this thirst for purpose and to connect to my purpose. And what that does and how that translates into my day-to-day life is goal setting. I'm always asking myself what it is I want to do, what I feel that I need to do, what my spirit is calling for me to do, and then how those concepts become tangible in the real world for me is through goals. So around 1996, 97, I started writing my goals down, which has a lot of power in it when you start putting pen to paper and putting aspirations and ideas down, and then putting timestamps on them. I followed different models, different motivational speakers and goal-setting philosophies, and found a lot of value in them, and then started to develop my own system. And we call it Timebug. And what I'd like to hone in on a bit today is something that was a solution I created to what I felt was limitations with some of the current literature and information out there about goal setting, that there didn't seem to really differentiate or have any different types of goals. So I came up with this model. I call it the 7 goal dimensions or types. And we can take a quick look at what they are and just discuss them a little bit and why at least they were important to me and why it's something that we're sharing now through an application that we're building and through a book that we've written about this topic. So we talked about time mastery, and that really connects to this first one on the list. It's having goals centered around our energy and our time. For example, I want to spend more time with my family. Okay, so that starts with understanding what the current reality is. Maybe, and so a lot of people often have those feelings and don't know the actual data, which is fine. We have a sense of things that doesn't necessarily need us to have the numbers, but sometimes when we actually sit down and pay attention to the numbers, it surprises us. So for example, if you ask yourself, how many hours do you sleep in a week, in a night? People would have a general idea, but if you really sat down and took pen to paper for 7 straight days, for 30 straight days, you might surprise yourself and learn something about how consistent your sleep is or what the real number is. And same thing with spending time with the family or any other example we can give. Maybe you want to have more time in the gym or more time running. So this is a nice goal type because it's something we can control. It's very tangible. It's the one that we can actually control the most. And that's why we put it first. And it's something that you might dedicate a lot of time to something. Let's say you have a goal of losing a certain amount of weight, and then you dedicate a certain amount of time in the gym and you don't actually achieve the weight loss goal. You may fall short by a few pounds, but at least you put the time in. So this is how when we vary our goals, according to these types listed here, it can give us a chance to understand better what it's going to take. Maybe we have a goal of, let's say, making a certain amount of money or achieving something in our career. And then we dedicate the time that we thought was needed to achieve that. And again, for some reason, we might have fallen short. That's good science. That's good personal science. We learn that, well, okay, it's not just about the time investment. Maybe I need to actually build a certain new set of skills. Maybe I need to create certain relationships with people that can help me to achieve that goal. So as we start to look at these different goal dimensions, we realize that in our life vision and purpose, we really taking a broader approach and look at creating goals around all these different dimensions can help us, really help us in our purpose and in our mission, whatever that may be. So let's go through some of the others. The second goal type is achievement and skills. So as I said, it could be running a marathon, or learning how to become a programmer, or any type of skill you could list here would be something specific. And again, it's another quite tangible one. And I do recommend that you be as specific as possible when you list your goals out, because that helps us in our vision and in our day-to-day start visualizing, that reality, that possibility, and really putting all our energy and resources together, working towards that aim. Now, I want to call attention to two of the items on the list here, number 3 and number 5, internal qualities and relationship quality. These are what we might call subjective goals, because you might want to, let's say, have more confidence in certain situations or in general. You might want to be happier in general. So these are kind of psychological, emotional qualities and internal states that only we could really verify, and as well people close to us can give us a mirror and reflect to us that, yeah, I see that was a goal of yours, and I feel it seems like you're happier. So it's nice to get that feedback from others, but ultimately it's really up to us to understand and communicate how we feel by writing it down. And using things like scales is something I recommend. So if we say, well, what do you think your confidence level is right now on a 1 to 10 scale? Well, depends on the situation. Maybe on average it's a 5. Okay, my goal for this year is to actually go up a notch, or maybe 2 notches to a 7. So then the next question, what would that look like? If your confidence level was a 7 instead of a 5, how would that actually manifest in your day-to-day life? What would that feel like to you? What might you do if your confidence went from a 5 to a 7? Maybe you'd be more confident to talk to your boss, or talk to that girl or guy that you've been thinking about, but you didn't feel confident enough to take that step. So it's good to use these kind of metrics, but to also attach them to real life actions that you might take based on feeling a different way. Relationship quality, again, is something that slightly different. I mean, I say again because it's also subjective, but now you're dealing with more than one party. So it could be a relationship with a friend, or a spouse, or a partner, or someone you work with. And now, in this case, if you have those goals, you need some feedback from the other person as well, because you might think your relationship has improved drastically and you feel good about it, and you want to make sure the other person has hopefully some similar feelings as well. And if they don't, that's okay, but it's good to have that dialogue, that discourse. And so it's a little bit of a reality check when you're able to have that conversation with others. So these two that I just mentioned, internal qualities and relationship quality, are typically things that people won't have in a typical, let's say, New Year's resolution or goal-setting exercise. And it's something I want to call attention to and note that they're probably more important than any of the others on the list, but they're all important, and they can all work together well. Health indicators, number 6, and number 7 here, place and environment, are also two that people don't always think about. I think health, naturally, the most popular goals we have are things like losing weight and quitting smoking, because we want to be more healthy. So that goal type and dimension has a lot of general goals that people could attach that to. Place and environment is one that often gets neglected, or maybe it's something people don't think about enough, but simple things like changing the position of the layout of your room or your office to maybe get more natural light, putting your desk near a window, so to speak. So changing your environment in small ways, or obviously more serious ways, like, well, I need to take more vacations, or I'm considering moving to another part of town which has less noise, less pollution, or maybe a different city. These are place and environment oriented goals, not to mention the places and environments that you choose to be in every single day often have other people and other factors. So that's something that kind of ties into the nuance of relationship qualities as well. For example, for me, to be specific, I like to work in an environment that's open, that has kind of a lot of space, that's quiet, where oftentimes I can be kind of in my own lab, in this very space that we're filming, which is a very kind of, for me, harmonious and quiet, meditative type of space. So that's something that's important for me. It was a goal that I had, and I was able to create that environment that was conducive to my other goals. So you see how all these dimensions and goal types work together. And again, true to the nature of our show and our concept, it's a polymathic type of thought structure here. It's holistic. It's not about having these siloed goals that are completely separate. It's about seeing how, let's say, one goal we may have, or our overall vision and purpose, actually touches all of these dimensions. So they're all indicators that actually connect with one another. And so I want to encourage you as you go about your next round of goal setting. If it's something you don't engage in and don't do, highly recommend it. And we actually have a program called the 2020 Life Vision, which is soon going to be released as an app within the next 60 days, certainly within 2017. So you'll be hearing more about it on the show here. But it's a 30-step program to basically walk you through the building and the creation of a life vision. So that's one format that you can partake in. There's many other great ones out there as well. So if it's something you're not doing now, or you used to do and kind of put aside, I recommend taking another look. And it's something you are doing, I'd love it if you took a look at the goal dimensions and types the next time you go about it, and see how it maybe gives some color or another angle or perspective on your approach. So I hope that was helpful. And again, every week this will be a segment that we delve into a different component of kind of personal development, time management, life management, and overall vision creation, and helping you basically find your purpose and pursue it with more skill, with more tools. For now, we're going to take a quick break and be right back and wrap things up from there. See you soon.